Welcome back to another episode of Tell Me All About It. I'm your creator host, Brianna. With me, I have a very special guest. My guest has a following over 18,000. She shares her journey with alopecia, also while encouraging others to be the best version of themselves. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the channel, Emii.
Hi.
Welcome to the channel, Emii. Thank you so much for stopping by and doing this with me.
Yes, thank you for so much for having me. I am sorry that it's taken so long. This is like obvious. This is my first interview I've ever done, so I am so sorry if I ramble too much, if I say anything that's completely like whoa, and I have to rewind myself. My social anxiety is like up and down all the time. So,
No worries. We want the most authentic version on this channel.
okay, perfect, because that's all I can give you.
Perfect. All right, let's get this started with. To start this conversation off, I want to give the viewers the medical definition or terminology to what alopecia is. It's the reduction in the process of losing your head hair or body hair anywhere in your body. You were 13 years old when you first started to get these symptoms, correct? Am I correct to know?
Yes, yes.
All right. So before anyone told you what alopecia was or that you had it, and you started to notice losing your hair, what did you chop it off to? Just stress or normal shedding?
So when I was 13, I had this like just the smallest bald spot on the side of my head, and my hairdresser had noticed it, and she said, "You have alopecia." And but she didn't really go too much into it. All she said is that that's why I had a smooth spot. And my mom and I were just kind of like and she just kind of immediately went into saying, "You just need to start taking prenatal vitamins or like fish oil." And so that's what me and my mom did. My mom went to Costco, bought these huge, like almost like we called them horse pill size, like prenatal vitamins because they were huge. And I was taking those at 13 because that's just what my hairdresser said would help keep my hair from falling out. And I would say that it would like slow the process down, but otherwise, um, I really had no clue what it was. And when I started taking the prenatal vitamins, I just kind of it was like a blip in my mind that I even had it. I was just like, okay, I don't have a bald spot because I'm taking these and I'm not going to let anyone notice about it. So I'm going to forget about it. And then that's pretty much what I did is I just completely forgot about it. Didn't go see a dermatologist or anything until my around 16. I think it was like 16 or 17 is when I noticed that my eyebrows started going away, and that's when I started to take it more seriously.
So, like you said, you first heard of the word from your hairdresser, and then eventually you went to a dermatologist who officially diagnosed you and wanted to start injections. What was your initial feelings when you had the diagnosis, this is what you have and this is what you're going to be dealing with from a dermatologist's perspective? What was going on? What was going through your head?
What was going through my head was is that I was really scared because I was already bullied a lot for my red hair, being called carrot top, and being asked that really bad question of does the carpet match the drapes? Or being called a firehouse, whatever it is that you call it. I want to be like respectful, but
Don't.
and so that just really kind of instilled in me that I'm gonna go from someone that's already being bullied for how they look for their hair to now having no hair and the possibility of just getting absolutely just rammed on in a sense. And when the dermatologist said that they wanted to start doing injections, I that was one of my fears is needles, and so I said absolutely not because I I'm not going to have something injected in my head, and steroids alone, it's a possibility that it would work. It's a possibility that it would work. Sorry.
Okay.
Uh, at the same time, it might not. And so that I think that caused a lot more stress in me than what was already there. And so I think that just really sped up the process because then the dermatologist also said to just stop taking the prenatal vitamins. And so I did, and then that's when everything really started coming out.
Do you wish you would have kept doing the prenatal vitamins?
I feel like I in that moment, I wish I had, but really like looking back on it now, I don't think it really would have done anything. I think it was just slowing down the process.
Gotcha. Now, you were in middle school and your hair started to fall out. High school is when it really took a turn for the worse. I remember watching one of your videos. You said a football player kind of called you out for your eyebrows. You know, what were some of the feelings and emotions you were going through in your head during this time? Like, high school is like, you have so many events going on from freshman, sophomore, junior, so many things going on in high school. What was it like going to school with alopecia?
So, so going to school with alopecia, I the when the football player had noticed about my eyebrows, I still had all of my hair still, and it was just like my eyebrows had started going away, but it was senior year of high school, or like right before senior year is when we shaved off all my head. And so I started wearing a wig and drawing on my eyebrows. I didn't know how to put eyelashes on yet, so I just did like really thick eyeliner. And that whole time I was like, I just need to try and be as what is it? Inconspicuous. I'm so sorry. I know how to say it, but
We
it's
all have
like
that
I need to
moment.
be as undercover as possible. I didn't want anyone or anything to know that I was bald. If anything, with my past of being bullied, I wanted to stay completely like up to the wall, not be noticed or anything like that. So we bought a wig for the first time and tried dyeing it somewhat red. It was a lot darker, and I was working on drawing my eyebrows on. It was not the greatest because I had like no experience whatsoever what I was doing, so they were kind of wild looking. But I was like, okay, if I can just do this, get through senior year, no one's gonna know, and then I never have to see these people again. And but there were still like comments that were made, maybe not directed at me, but it still like stung me, and it felt like it was because there was one time in in a history class, this girl was having a birthday party, and she had tweeted, she goes, I'm inviting everyone except for the people that use crayon to draw their eyebrows on. And that immediately was like, is that me? Is that me? I think she's talking about me because again, I didn't know how to draw on my eyebrows. They looked like they were drawn on with a crayon. So that it was just more of like constantly being aware while trying to not be noticed.
Um, like you said, weeks before your senior year, you decided to cut all of your hair off. You know, senior year is filled with prom, homecoming, football games, all these, monumental moments during senior year. And that's the year you said, you know what, I'm going in, shaving it, I'm wearing the wigs. What was their mental status going into that decision of just, I'm done, I'm cutting it all off?
It more of had to do with like how I started to look with my natural hair. It it started to really thin out, and I had my hair onto one side like most of my childhood. That this one side was actually thinning out more, so I went to flip it over, and it just really was not looking healthy, and went to the hairdresser to get it chopped off to see maybe if that would help. So I chopped it into a bob, and then at that point I was like, I really looked like I was going through chemo, and that's not what my story was. I didn't have cancer. I didn't want people to think I had cancer. I didn't want people to label me for something that I wasn't. And I didn't want to be labeled as something that wasn't and hurt the people that do have cancer. So I decided that I'm just going to shave it all off, and hopefully that would work. And that was a really tough time because my mom and me, we just sat there crying, looking at each other because she had to be the one to shave my hair.
Um, Before you made the decision to cut it all off, did it ever get exhausting of trying to do different hairstyles, trying to flip it on one side, trying to get it over here, trying to play within the mirror to make it look as normal as possible? Did that ever get exhausting?
I think coming to the time where it started to really thin out, yeah, that's like when I again chopped it off to like this bob. I remember I don't even think I had the bob for more than a day, and I was like, I just need to shave it all off. So
You know, our high school years are some of our best and scary moments. You really started to feel insecure at this time. Who was your biggest supporter at that time who encouraged you to get back up and keep trying, keep going to school, not listening to what people have to say? Who was that person for you in that moment?
I would have to say, I know this sounds really I had a boyfriend in high school, and I had met him before my hair had fallen out, and he was somewhat there with me the whole time, even after I had shaved my head. And it's like kind of a weird thing, but he told me, and it was supportive in a sense that he would not mind if I needed lotion rubbed on my head, he would do it for me. I was like, okay. And it was just, we went to different high schools, and he was at a different high school. Hey, what's wrong?
Hey,
Baby,
break.
it's okay. Hey, buddy, you gotta go sit and eat, okay? You can't come in here, remember? No food in here. What, buddy? You gotta go sit with Sissy. Go tell her to turn on. Go tell her to turn on Super Kitties. Okay, but you gotta give her the food if you're gonna be in here. Give her the food. No food in here. Come on, buddy, you can do it. You can do it.
Thank you guys. After that little break, last stop we talked about you having a boyfriend at the time in high school who was very supportive of you. Um, Let me ask you this: as a human being, our natural boost of confidence kind of come from how we look, how we put ourselves together, and how we present ourselves to the world. How have you over the years start to cope with how to find that on the inside of you?
I think it's taken like a lot. I've gone through um I eventually lost my boy my me and my boyfriend broke up, and then now I have my husband. But even then it was still more of like a battle. Like I have all the support in the world. I have my family, I have his family, I have my children, I have friends, and I have him, and still it is more of just like I think I relied so much on other people to make me feel good about myself that I still never tried to find that within me to feel good about myself. So it's taken, I feel like that's why I've been posting on social media, is not for other people, but for myself, because that's something that I didn't even think that I wanted to do, but it's helped me break this uncomfortability that I guess I don't know that it's okay to not be normal, because I always felt like, if I just be normal, people are going to like me. If I just be normal, I just need to be normal. I just need to be normal. And at this point, I know I'm never going to be normal. And so I've been telling myself, normal is overrated. Normal is overrated. No one is ever going to fit into what normal is, because there is no such thing as normal. It's made up.
It's
We
not.
are all our own unique people. And after really like grounding that into myself and understanding that I am not to fit a specific blueprint, that I started to really love my own self and feel more confident and feel that I that me supporting myself is what I really needed. I hope that makes sense.
Yes. Um, as a woman, What do you feel like was being stripped of you with having alopecia? Like, what was something your feminine self was being stripped away from you?
I feel like a lot of people will, and I've said before too, you know, your hair as a female is part of your identity. You take really good care of it. You style it a certain way. You can color it, you can cut it, you can, you know, you can do whatever to it, and that's how people put either, I guess that's how women see that as their personal style. Like even back then in like the 20s, the 40s, the 70s, you know, the different types of hairstyles that you did was, you know, how you, I guess, shape your style, shape your personality. And nowadays, you know, it's it's almost become like a key identifier to your personality. But I feel like it shouldn't be that way. But I can't say that because I have no hair. So, but it really was, you know, it's how you felt, or I guess I would say it's how I felt more feminine is having my hair.
Um, let's get a little personal. You were
Mm-hmm.
young when you lost your hair. You had a boyfriend at the time who kind of supported you the first half of it, but then you guys broke up. What was dating looking like for you? Like, how did you feel about being approached, and how do you feel about having this conversation with your prospective partner?
So, um, from my boyfriend at from high school, and then my husband, that was it. It
Lucky
was
you.
not. I know. That's like a hard thing to say. It was I did date him though. I did date my husband. And I had met him. He's never seen me with real hair. So right after I broke up with my boyfriend, I just I was in college. I did have a time frame where I wasn't dating or I wasn't seeing anyone because that was a 2-year relationship that I came off of, and I was fresh going into college. I was like, I just need to find out myself. I need to be my own person now that I'm not in high school anymore. I'm out of the small town. I just want to be myself. And so what I did was more of like work on relationships with friends, and I made friends to the point where I had a really good girlfriend that she came over a lot and she helped me do my psychology project, which she drew a brain on my head. She thought it was so cool. And I did that in front of like my whole entire psychology class. And then, I'm sorry, I keep saying and then, and I just keep going. I did make a lot of friends. Again, never wanted to date anyone. And this is what the funny story is about my husband, is that I was working in childcare, or for after school childcare for the YMCA. And I had seen him before. We were doing this winter camp meeting or whatever. Him and a bunch of his friends were up at the front, and and I looked at them and I was like, those guys are weird. Those guys are weird. They're being weird. And I was just like, just focus on yourself, whatever, they're weirdos. And he looked back at me at one point. I was like, why? Don't look at me. Don't look at me. And then it was maybe a week or so after is he walked into my site, like my actual job site, and my boss is like, "Oh my gosh, we finally have a guy here." Because it was just us two women, and a lot of the children that we worked with were mostly boys. And so they really needed more of like a male role model. And he comes up to me and he tries talking to me, and I'm like, I just want to work. I just want to work. And I think there was like one meeting or so after that he had asked for my Snapchat, and I said, I don't have Snapchat. I lied to his face about it. I did not want anything to do with this guy. Um, but I was wearing wigs and I was keeping to myself. I will say, I think the children that I was working with ratted me out to him because, or my boss, one of the two. two things had happened. My boss had a picture of my bald head with a brain on it, and he had asked, "Is that a bald cap?" And we were both like, "Yep, yep, that's a bald cap." And because for me, I was more of like, I had this thing where I would not tell people, new people, that I was bald until I felt that our connection, you wouldn't judge me for it. That if I felt secure that I know that you're not going to be a judgmental person towards me, then that's when you get to know the full me. Only come to find out that my boss had kind of spilled the beans by showing him the picture, and then the children, this one little kid, he says, my husband tells me this. He says that the boy told him, "You know that she's bald, right?" And he goes, "What?" And he goes, "Yeah, she can do magic. She pulls her hair off." And
I love you.
so, because it's fun to tell children that, like when you're bald. I did that at one time. I was like, "Okay, you want to see a magic trick?" And I showed them. And I pulled my hair off, and they're like, "Whoa!" But anyway, dating was, it was just him, and knowing that whole time that he had already like known that I was bald, and he still pursued me, and I mean it, I really wanted nothing to do with him. He had kissed me one day, and I said, "I think we just need to be friends." And and so then we are working, and we start like getting to know each other better and flirting, and then one thing leads to another. We're boyfriend and girlfriend, and now we're married with two kids in our own house. So um
When it's
I
meant to
would
be,
say
it's
that.
meant.
Huh?
When it's meant to be, it's meant.
It's meant to be, yeah. I would think so, because, and I feel like maybe just the whole time that, even though he knew, he still let me choose when to say that I was bald before telling me. And and I don't regret a single point in time of how it happened. I don't think dating would have been, if I maybe had shown myself differently, I don't feel like I would be here in the moment with my husband, or maybe it would have worked out differently, but for me personally, I'm happy with how it turned out and how it went, because again, it gave me that security that I met someone, and I am with someone who understands that this is my journey, and he didn't want to make me feel like I was any less because of it.
Now, speaking of you being a counselor and you having two beautiful kids, one of them decided to stop by during an interview. We know kids say the darndest things. How have you kind of taught your kids or explained to your kids what about alopecia?
So my daughter, my first, is almost 6 years old, so she's understands a little bit more. She had, ever since I gave birth to her, she has always seen me with bald hair. I mean, not bald hair, with a bald head, no makeup, all the time. Um, and she's kind of, there was, I think around like when she was 3 or so, she's seen me put on makeup. She's seen me put on eyelashes and wigs. There was one day that I was I couldn't find my eyelashes or something after I had done my makeup, so I was just walking around the house, and she goes, "Mommy, where's your eyelashes? Do you need those?" And I'm like, "No, I don't know. I can't find them." And then now that she's getting a little older, she's about to go to school. She goes, "So do all mommies not have hair?" I'm like, "No, this is kind of like a special circumstance. It's just your mom that doesn't have hair." She's gonna get to a point where she's gonna understand your body's a lot different and it does changes. So we're gonna be able to have that conversation. I've tried having it a couple of times, and it sometimes clicks, sometimes doesn't. But telling her, mommy's body just doesn't like her hair, and so it comes out. And she goes, "Oh, okay."
Um, what was the hard? What has been the hardest day or the hardest part with dealing with alopecia?
I would say the hardest you would be the day that I had to shave my head, because that was the moment of like, it felt like a moment of no return, like I couldn't go back from it, which it coming to the realization it was inevitable that it was going to happen. But it's just, coming to that sense of like your hair's gone, you don't know when it's coming back, you don't know if it's ever going to come back. It could not come back the way that it's supposed to, could come back differently. Here, can you take your cheese stick? Okay, can you sit here and eat it? Okay. And so, yeah, I would say just the first day, because that's the initial, like, okay, I have it, and it's here to stay. And now I need to figure out what I'm gonna do, how I want to do it. Do I want to wear a wig and draw my eyebrows on? Do I want to try and go bald and do that? I chose putting hair and wig. I mean, I chose putting a wig and doing my makeup, so that's what I did. But some people will just decide to embrace it, and I kind of do wish that I was one of those people, but I also understand why I wasn't. So,
Okay. Let's get into some more fun stuff now. I think it's
okay.
funny. The first part of this interview, you talked about there's a part of part of your life that you try to stay hidden from people. You want to stay under the radar, undercover. You didn't want too much attention being drawn to you. Now you have this following on Instagram where thousands of people know you, if not hundreds of thousands. How did you get to that part? How did you get there?
So I think this is more of like kind of a selfish aspect. I'm a stay-at-home mom. I'm not making any money whatsoever. My husband is the one with the job. I'm just watching the kids. And, social media is really blowing up, and I was like, okay, maybe something's out there and maybe I can start making money. But I can't be I cannot be just another blonde mom. Hey buddy. I can't just be another blonde mom that's going and doing errands. I need to stand out. So, in order for me to stand out and people to see me, I need to get out of my comfort zone and I need to start showing my bald head.
Um,
So, that's what I did. I started doing just regular get ready with me's, just showing my makeup routine every now and then just kind of like day in the lives or what they call it, where I would start off my day no hair, feeding the kids breakfast, and then get ready and do that. So I would say it's more of a selfish aspect of trying to be seen. And then, so.
um, I know with having my own platform, I want to know what it's like for you building this community of people on social media. What has that been like for you? If you can answer quickly.
Yeah, I think now knowing that my audience has felt really seen for me being bald, not only bald but having like really bad acne. Um, I get tons of messages all the time saying that they are so grateful that I'm on here. They really wish someone was there when they were first starting out, and now that I'm growing, I feel like my new trajectory to more growth is being a servant and helping others, because before it was just about myself, but now I feel like I need to help people, and whether that be feel good about being in their own skin or getting themselves to the point where they want to feel beautiful, just doing makeup tips. And so I think that's baby, I gave you a cup. Go, please.
Okay. Last question.
Mm-hmm.
If social media ended today, if you only had like 24 hours left of social media, what would be your message to get out there? What would be your last message to get out there?
I think my last message to get out there is that I normal is overrated, bald is beautiful, makeup's beautiful, and I I hope that one day everyone's able to feel confident in themselves, because that's a beautiful world, is living in somewhere where everyone feels confident in who they are. And I feel like that's the happiest place to be, is to be yourself.
All right. Thank you so much for stopping by. To continue to follow Emmy's stories, you can follow her on Instagram at Emmy the Little Mermaid. You can also find her on TikTok. As always, you can find me here on Instagram at Tell Me All About It. Make sure you subscribe to my YouTube and Spotify page. Until next time, guys, that is all.